Welcome. Another day of Bhagavad Gita Sadhana. I'm so glad you're here with me as we reach the end of our year-long practice. And as we reach the end, I've really started to think back to the beginning and on days like today. So I'll let you know what the weather is here today. The sunrise doesn't happen till 7:37. Currently, it's 26 degrees Fahrenheit, feels like minus 11, or -3 degrees centigrade feels like -23. I love this. It's a strong breeze from the west northwest with gusts up to 50 miles per hour. That's 80 kilometers per hour. And we have a lake effect snow warning. And this is what it looks like. And people are still driving around and doing things today. Wow. And the reason I'm mentioning this is, as I prepared, I was thinking, is this the worst day of the whole sadhana? Has it been this bad before? And it's interesting to go back in my mind. And just in my mind, it's like, this must be the worst day. But when I look at the objective data, it doesn't seem like it is the worst. So I'm mentioning this because as we get toward the end, it's good reflection on our memories in general. Like when we reflect back on the past, I think we tend to exaggerate both in the good and the bad. I mean, we live here with fishermen, and every fisherman's, reputation is if he catches a fish this big, when he's on the boat, it's this big. He gets back to the dock, it's this big. He gets home, it's this big. When he's out with his friends, it's this big. And years later, it's it's this big. And so as I move away from the beginning, it's interesting to notice how things have gotten either this way or this way instead of being the moderate experiences they were. This is something to think about with the human condition, because as we're finding samatvam is this ability to be more instead of the extremes, to find a place that's comfortable and settle into it. So I'm also thinking today about, as this happens, a truth that I've learned in my life, and that is reflected here in this sadhana on the Bhagavad Gita. Arjun's nearing the end of his talk with Krishna, and Krishna is going to give him like the final question, the final choice, the final decision to make. And for many of us, when we get this important decision or choice, it's easy to default to patterns of behavior. This is a real test of whether we are changing. I don't want to say we want to change or we're committed to change, because we can be that and still feel like we're falling short. But if we're actually changing, I'll tell a little story related to final tests I've had in my life, and notice if these have occurred to you. So there was a time in my life when I attracted a certain personality type that was quite destructive into my circle as friends, or as people who wanted to be more than friends. And I would keep connecting with those people and keep getting like, why did I do this? And it took some self-reflection and introspection to realize, oh, this is the pattern. I feel like I'm meeting and getting to know different people, but it's really the same person, just in a different form. And when I realized that, I made a promise to myself, like, I am not permitting these people to negatively affect my life anymore. I made that promise to myself, and then there was another test. A very good friend of mine said, hey, there's someone I want you to meet. I think you'd get along really well. And I said, that's fabulous, but as long as it's not this certain type of person. Nope, not that type of person. Great. Connect with that person. Is that type of person. Like, oh my gosh. And the temptation was, a friend recommended, this keeps coming to my life. Maybe and then I remembered my promise to myself. I said, no. Thank you, but this is not for me, this type of connection. And after that, stopped. No more people like that came into my life. It was amazing. I may have told this story before as we cycle through, because in the Gita, everything comes around again. But as I near the end, it's really striking me. This is like a final test. I feel like, am I committed to keep going? Because today it would be so easy to go, oh, the power went out, my tech broke, my tech froze, and then to just stay inside and sneak in a little warm sadhana. But I'm going to do it. One of the final tests. And I'm wondering, as we go through today and when we get to the contemplation, are there any places where you've tried to make progress in your life and you feel like you're making it, and then this one final challenge comes up? And what happens? Do you revert to your previous cycles that are so comfortable and time tested? Or do you go, not this time, not this time? All right, I think that's enough to say. Now the experience. Oh, and today's practice, by the way, is dedicated to Coco and Rod, and also to Cathy, to all of you out there. Thank you for being connected with me. And I don't know if you'll be able to see me. I will knock on the door when I switch sides for the bounce pose. And then, I better get this ready. Then I'll start the 5-minute contemplation. Here we go. Wow. It's deep out here. Oh, wow. Labor. Okay, here we go. 5 minutes contemplating where that final test may come up for you and how you respond. Come on, start that clock. Yes.
Please, can I come in?
Thank you. Wow. How was that for you today? It was not the worst. And whether that's because it wasn't the worst or because, again, I had the experience of connection to the weather without suffering, I don't know. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be tested further. Maybe I've passed this test. We'll find out as our adventure continues. And remember, you can see the link below and check the workshops or the home page for what's coming up next, including, as I record this live, the celebration of this whole year-long practice. You can join live or by recording, like you do with this one. So, until I see you again, may you meet your challenges and your tests just the way you want to.